welcome back to the Unraveling Soprano. I'm Heather, and this is my channel where I talk about all my makes from the week, whether that be knitting, crocheting, or sewing. And today, I'm going to start off with what I'm wearing. I have finished my Aros sweater dress. Yeah, so I'm going to put in, because I can't really show, even the footage I took, I couldn't really show the entire length of the dress. But I'm going to put in some video of me wearing the dress, and I ended up using, funnily enough, my original yarn quantity before I bought the extra 4 skeins. I think it was 12 balls of yarn. That is what I ended up using for this, because this is just hitting right at the knee at this point. I have not blocked this yet because I wanted to show it off, and I didn't think it would be dry in time by the time I sat down to film this. So I know it's going to grow at least 2 inches. And I wanted it to be like slightly lower than my knee. So yeah, so I think I'm going to get that with this. So it is very warm. It's still winter, so it's still appropriate. I was just moving cameras and stuff around, so now I'm very warm. But as far as the pattern, I love this pattern. I'm not usually, I do knit a fair bit of petite knit patterns, but I don't usually love them. Like, I do like the way that she writes her instructions. I think it's pretty, for the most part, pretty clear cut. And I do like her finishing, but I often look at some of her patterns going, I could find a free pattern from Drops that's similar. And so I often go that route, but this pattern was absolutely worth the price. I love the shoulder. I think it's contiguous shoulder. I'll get a little closer. Ooh. Yeah, so I love the shoulder detail. It makes it look like it's a set in sleeve when it's not, and it's just really a raglan. So, but I mean, I love raglan sweaters. I have a lot of raglan sweaters, but sometimes this, like, the lines here, it's not always the look that I'm going for, but this, it looks like it's a set in sleeve, which really looks nice on my shoulders. But it is made up like for the most part, made up like a raglan. I love the cuff finishing. Originally I had the cuffs kind of rolled, and I liked that, but then I went ahead and I finished them. Oh, come on. There you go. And I really love the finishing. I will definitely make this pattern again. I probably will not make the dress again because I can't see how many sweater dresses I really need. I think it's just the one that I really need. Maybe at some point I might do it in a neutral color, but as for right now, I think it's great. I think the color looks really nice. The only pattern issue I have is that the back collar kind of sticks up a little bit. But I think that might go away with blocking. I do like how the crew sits lower on my neck than like most crews are like that, like almost a mock. I like how this sits lower. I felt that the waist shaping that I did worked out really nice. Now again, this is pre-blocking, so it may drop a little bit and I may not love it as much, but I think it's gonna be okay. But yeah, so overall, I love this pattern, love the finished product. I will probably, as soon as this is done, take this off, put it in a warm bath, and then start the blocking process. And I might check back in, not for this podcast, because it's going to take about a week for it to dry. So I might check back in next week just to update you on how the blocking went. But yeah, so this is great. So this is what I'm wearing and also my finished object. So as I was saying, this sweater only took 12 balls of yarn. I think that, so I bought an additional 4, and this is the Knit Picks City Tweed DK in Honeybee. And I got kind of nervous that I wasn't going to have enough yarn, so I went ahead and purchased 4 more skeins of yarn that I didn't need. So I was sitting there going, well, what the heck am I going to do with these 4 skeins of yarn? I don't want them to sit around. It's not enough to do another sweater. I don't need another sweater in this color yellow. I think this is just like a one thing. So I decided to cast on a shawl. I was going to cast on a shawl anyways. It's just different yarn that I'm using. So this is the Age of Brass and Steam shawl. If I got that name wrong, I will correct it somewhere. I have already used 2 and a bit balls of yarn. This is what I have left of my 3rd ball. Just realizing this may not have been focusing the entire time. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I thought my camera wasn't focusing on me, so yeah, I'm back. So yeah, so what was I talking about? So this is the Age of Brass and Steam shawl. This is a free pattern. I am using, I think 8mm, 5.5 millimeter needles. So it's a US 9. It calls for a US 8, I think. I don't think I have a US 8, so I just used a US 9. It's a shawl. If it's more open, great. So I have this, I think this is over halfway done. This is what I have so far. So I really like the eyelet pattern. This is a very easy, don't think about it, stress relieving knit. And I think I will use this a lot once it's finished, because I do notice that when it gets really cold, I'll have my autumn, I forget what this is called, my blanket that I made, and I'll have that on my feet, but it's not quite enough for my shoulders. So if I want to wear like a lighter weight, if I don't want to wear a heavy sweater while I'm watching TV, I can throw this on, which I think makes it really practical. I mean, obviously I really love the color. And I think it's really good use of the yarn, because 4 balls of yarn isn't enough to, like 450 grams, so 200 grams of yarn isn't enough to make a sweater. I would never really want a tank top in this because it's an alpaca wool blend. It isn't a scratchy yarn, but I do notice that when I am warm, I do feel a little prickliness. And so I think that in a tank top that I'd be wearing in the summer, that's silly. I'm not gonna make a summer weight garment out of this particular yarn. And I just don't need another top. I looked at like other like scarves and hats. I think a hat would be really cute. So maybe if this ends up using only the 3rd ball yarn, maybe I can see if I can squeeze a hat out of 50 grams. I don't think I can. But I have 50 grams and like a little bit left over from the dress. So maybe, or I could just enlarge the pattern, because I think the pattern only calls for 160 grams of yarn. So I can enlarge the pattern to make this like a really enveloping shawl. And that might be great. I might love that. And we'll see. I'm not quite sure how much this stretches. Anything with alpaca has the propensity to stretch. So this yarn might stretch a lot. So this might be like a blanket, like instead of more of like a shawl. But we'll see. Because right now I'm really liking the way it's knitting up. I think it looks really great. I'm hoping to have finished this by the end of, honestly, if I can finish in the next 2 days, that would be amazing. So that's the project I'm working on. I do think that the Autumn Vibes sweater is going to, or Autumn Vibes shawl is going to be put on the back burner for a little bit. Maybe I'll start that in March, because what I really want to start right now is my campfire cardigan. So I'm kind of itching for some cable knits. So I want to do my gauge swatch. I'm going to do a gauge swatch. Very exciting. I don't do a lot of those. So I do want to do a gauge swatch because I'm not quite sure how my gauge compares to Amy Herzog's gauge. I'm guessing my gauge is going to be too big because my gauge is always too big, but I don't know. So we'll see. And I know that that particular cardigan is worked flat, which is fine. I actually kind of like working flat when it comes to cables. I think it makes it like for some reason my brain likes it better, because usually the cables are only down on the right side. But yeah, so I want to do that, and I think that that will get me through the week. I think finishing my Age of Brass and Steam shawl and starting a swatch, maybe casting on, is enough to get me through the week. I did want to, well, first talk about kind of the elephant in the room. My orientation is a little different. I just kind of decided to rearrange everything so I can get more space for the camera. But it kind of brings me into this next like little bit that I want to start talking about. So I want to do because I'm constantly looking for, trying to remind myself of things that bring me joy. I'm taking this opportunity to share with you the things this week that have brought me joy. And this will be like, maybe like a new segment. So the first thing that's bringing me joy is rearranging my room. Just kind of moving the furniture around, getting like, because I feel like you set certain rooms up in a certain way and you kind of live with that for a while and you forget about what possible ways you can arrange furniture. And then when you like completely reorganize everything, you go, oh, this is a much more functional space. So I think that my room is a much more functional space, definitely for filming. I moved my like voice studio portion of my room into a different room, which I probably should have done a while ago. Kind of separating. I mean, I guess I'm not separating work from personal if like I'm filming here, but I think it's good to have the voice studio in a different room. And I just have a whole heck of a lot more space. I just love the space. So the other things that have been making me feel a little bit more joyful, winter walks. I do love a winter walk. And starting to see the very like first hints of spring. We got no flowers popping up yet, but just like buds on the trees. And in that vein, I've been very into watching bird watching channels on YouTube. Like just like the ones where people in their backyard just set up a camera and then you just watch. Maybe that's creepy for birds. I don't think they care. Every once in a while I'll be like, I'm just sitting here watching you eat. That's weird. But I do like seeing like the different species of birds as they start slowly coming back to where they end up migrating for the summer. I like to do that like where I am locally, but also sometimes I'll be like, what are the birds doing in, I don't know, the Caribbean? Like what birds are there right now? So bird watching is bringing me a lot of joy. And then finally, good decaf coffee. So I am a huge coffee drinker. I love coffee. I shouldn't have caffeine. Like I shouldn't have loads of caffeine for my mental well-being, and also just like I'm a fast talker, and if I have less and less of caffeine, one, no one's gonna understand anything I say because I will just like I will be buzzing. So I've been trying to like find good decaf coffee, and I think I found I've been drinking a lot of Peet's decaf coffee, which is okay. I think out of like all like the store brands, it's probably the best I've found. I mean, I can find like really fancy decaf coffee. I'm not there yet. If you are a decaf coffee drinker, what do you drink? I'm pretty much only interested in the Swiss water process coffee. the way that they decaffeinate it, because it just makes it taste better. But yeah, if you are a decaf coffee drinker, put in just the comments below, description, the comments, put in the comments what you drink, because I'm constantly looking. And then another segment I want to add to is what am I reading? And when I say reading, I'm talking about audiobooks. I don't do a whole lot of actual sit and reading. I will sit and read like a nonfiction book, but when it comes to fiction books, I really want to be engrossed in the story, and I find that the best way for me to do that is through audiobooks. And right now I am reading Great Expectations and Wuthering Heights, spending more time on Great Expectations. Surprisingly, I didn't think I would like Great Expectations. Like I kind of pretty much have like made fun of it most of my life because like Charles Dickens got paid by the word, and so he's very wordy. But audiobook format, it's like all those adjectives, they make sense. They do paint a picture. But if I'm trying to read it, no. But audiobooks, I understand the hype a little bit more. So yeah, so that's what I'm reading currently. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know what you're working on. How are you? What is bringing you joy right now? Write that in the comments. Maybe we can start just inspiring just the little things, like, and I'm trying to like focus things on things that like I don't necessarily have to spend a whole lot of money on, because I often find that things I spend lots and lots of money on don't always bring me joy, but the things that I don't spend whole much money on can bring me a lot of joy. But yeah, so let me know what you're working on and how you're doing. And until next week, happy knitting, and I'll see you later. Bye!